Hello, I'm Philip Stoten. I'm on the Scoop Studio at Productronica 2019, and I'm joined by two gentlemen to discuss the digitization of purchasing, but also the digitization of other business processes within the EMS world. I've got Markus Aschenbrenner here from Zollner and Chintan here from CalcuQuote. Guys, thanks for joining me. Markus, if I can start with you, we talk no end about digitizing the factory, smart factory, getting the machines connected. But we can't ignore the business processes, and purchasing is one of those keys. Is that something you see as fundamentally important to a company like Zollner?
I think that's next stage now, because we are already used to hook up all the machines to MES systems and use the data there and trace and track and trace throughout the manufacturing process. But I think there's a big potential still in all the surrounding processes, and procurement is one of them, planning is another of them. So yes, I see a lot of benefit that the continued digitization will bring, especially to those processes.
Yeah, and Chintan, when you look at it from your point of view, you've seen that as a requirement in the industry, and you've looked specifically at the purchasing area. I speak to a lot of OEMs, and one of their frustrations with EMS is the lag, the time it takes to get quotes, and actually being able to compare quotes like for like. That's something you've responded to and created a product. Tell me how that has come about and how that's been received by the market.
Yeah, absolutely. So we started CalcuQuote with the premise that the RFQ process needed to be improved, both in terms of its speed and accuracy and the amount of effort that it takes to put a quote together. So that's kind of how we started. In terms of the reception, we didn't want to build an incremental solution where you're just sending a spreadsheet via email faster than before. So what we did is we said we're going to do API integrations into the supply chain, and it's been very well received. So a lot of our customers view it as a competitive advantage, being able to get that real-time visibility, especially when you're having component shortages and things like that. It helps to know right now how much is available and then be able to act on it with a purchase order. So on the purchasing side, after you get done with the quote, we also have created the ability to be able to issue purchase orders and then get instant confirmation back. So it's all transacting as close to real time as possible, in a seamless way from a user's perspective.
Yeah, and it becomes a supply chain management tool as well as a quoting tool. Is that something that your customers feel is equally important as the RFQ process?
Yes. So the RFQ process important, the purchasing process important. Together, it's important that they're in sync, right? Because you don't want to quote something at one price and then have the purchasing department ignore the quote and then buy something completely different, right? Yeah. So important to keep them in sync.
And Markus, within Zollner, within your organization, huge amount of purchasing and procurement goes on, constantly bidding new projects, got to get those projects into production really quickly. How important is it to have that process digitized, and how have you gone about that?
Yeah, it's very important, especially in the early stages of product, because if you look at MPI and prototyping, what the customer needs is a quick response in the quoting area, but also then in the manufacturing area. And if you then have to deal with different software systems, that's not a good situation. So what we see there is that there is a lot of improvement that can be done there, and we decided already a while ago to invest ourselves in software tools there. As you know, we have a streamlined baseline, because we have one ERP system, one MES system, and PLM system on a global basis. And for those processes that you described also in quoting and MPI, we decided to invest in our own software tool to speed up the quoting process, and then just really, once quotes are received on an online basis from suppliers, just to press the button in order to shoot the purchase orders and get the whole process running on a much quicker path than we used to do in the past.
Yeah, I think that, speed is really important. When you look at modules of software, pieces of software that you might want to use within your own ecosystem, how easy is it for you to integrate those into your ERP, your PLM software?
Yeah. So for us, it's quite easy because, as I said, we run the same software systems on a global basis in all our sites, and that gives us a big advantage there. So it's quite easy to set up then software and hook it up to our standardized tools on a global basis. And also very important, if I look at supply basis, the visibility in the supply chain, the allocation that you have, and the risk that you have in supply chain, and that's something that a customer wants to know on a nearly daily basis in the meantime.
And you need that visibility and traceability. Chintan, when you're installing CalcuQuote at different companies, is the software ecosystem they have part of the challenge, or does it vary?
It's getting a lot better, right? So a lot of softwares are opening up APIs and things like that to make them integrate with each other. So from our perspective, what we see as the future is an ecosystem of softwares that talk to each other using APIs, make it more seamless from a user's perspective. So yeah, what we try to do is offer an out-of-the-box integration with the softwares that are most popular among our customer base. And that way, it's not a custom installation every time. It's just turn on a switch and now this system can talk to that one.
Yeah. And Chintan, you called your company CalcuQuote. You started out with the idea of calculating quotes, obviously. You're already beyond that. Where do you go next, and do you need a new name?
Yeah, it's a topic that gets bounced around the office a lot, is what's the new name of CalcuQuote. You're right that we've gone beyond quoting. We started with the idea that we wanted to solve quoting. We've got more than 100 customers across the globe now using our software for quoting. Where we see us going next is we've already got ShopCQ, which is our purchasing module, helps you with instant real-time transaction of purchase orders. And then the next thing that we see on the frontier is smart warehousing, where you've got a virtual warehouse that's just looking at all the inventory that's available across the supply chain.
Yeah, so that's like a virtual visible warehouse worldwide. Markus, final word from you. What other processes do you see as being important to be digitally transformed? And is this part of having, we talk about digital twins and we talk about a digital thread that runs through the whole process. You have to have everything connected and digitized for that to actually work properly.
So, as already said, the manufacturing process and digitalization there is already on a good path forward, because all the machines are hooked up to MES systems, ERP systems. So it's a good path there. So, for me, more and more other processes are getting more important, like the planning, the purchasing process, to have the visibility in the supply chain, the allocation that you have, the risk which is in supply chain, which is a need for each and every customer right now to have that visibility and see what is the risk that an OEM and an EMS company has there.
Yeah, and it's all going to drive speed and agility, and that's what your customers are looking for all the time. Greater speed, greater flexibility, the ability to move. Gentlemen, thanks so much for your time. Always a pleasure to chat, and look forward to talking again soon. Thank you.
You're welcome.